Let's get the Australian point of view, as we promised at the top of the show. Obviously, Australia have now gone over a decade since losing the urn. What's the reaction been? Bharat Sundaresan, Australian cricket writer and commentator now, and receiver of fruit platters now that he works for Channel 7 as well as Cricbuzz. Bharat, underwhelmed, disappointed, or is the emphasis still on a celebration of a tremendous all-round performance from the Australian squad?
No, firstly, celebration manners. I think the fact that this Australian team, despite missing so many key players at key moments, have found a way and have stuck to their hardcore Australian way of playing Australian Test cricket on Australian soil to beat the English and to go 3-0 up. Like Pat Cummins said, that's what they wanted to do. I mean, yes, from this point on, all the focus will shift to the whitewash, and it'll move from beating England to humiliating them. That's just how it works here in Australia. But yeah, for now, it's just a celebration of a team which has been through a lot. The average age has been discussed a lot over the last few months, and they are well into their 30s, and it's a different kind of celebration. Yes, they did add the team song. Yes, Nathan Lyon came there, threw his crutches away, and leaned in for True Blue before Alex Carey rang up. Kicked off this team song, but a lot of kids around, a lot of families around, but a bit underwhelming for sure. I mean, it would have been even sweeter if this was baseball that Australia had beaten. This was just yet another English team that they've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot said, hasn't there, Barrett, before the contest, and it wasn't really a contest, was it? It was, like you said, it was a similar outcome to what Ashes in Australia has been like, but is that because of the way I think Australia prepared for it and their key men, their experienced men who've been there before, just nailed their skill sets and nailed the simple things? And probably the prime example would be Alex Carey.
Yeah, exactly. And Harmy, I think Mitchell Starc set the tone on day one, and then Travis Head played that innings on day two. And almost just on that, from the moment Travis Head's music played in Perth on the second evening, the series pretty much was over, it feels like, when you look back. And Alex Carey is just, he's played all 46 tests since he made his debut in the last Ashes series when England were here 4 years ago. And he's just gotten better and better and better. He doesn't make a lot of noise. He rarely likes to talk about himself, even after he received the Player of the Match award in front of his home crowd, in front of his family in Adelaide. It was all about everyone else. And when you compare that to all this noise around England, and that's what I think from an Australian fan perspective, it is disappointing. I think the analogy I used the other day was they promised this amusement park with death-defying, thrill-seeking rides. In the end, it was just a Ferris wheel, really, which is just going slowly. There was nothing different to what other English teams have done before. And Australia just did what Australia do.
Let's just slip in a quote from Pat Cummins here. This is him talking about England's approach during the first three tests.
They seem to have changed their style quite a bit, game to game. I think that can happen in overseas conditions. You're always trying to fight for a method that works. Day two I thought was surprising. It was 40 odd degrees. It was hot. It was a very flat wicket, and they shut up shop there for half of the day, which I was pretty happy with. So who knows? I'm sure they'll talk about it and come at us, with different plans for Melbourne and Sydney. I'm glad that we've been able to, stick to our guns and play the way that we play best, and it's worked.
As Australian captain Pat Cummins, he's very clever. He's very, very smart with his comments. And he basically, I think, is referring to what a lot of England media have been referring to about mixed messaging. About, are we playing baseball? Are we going to be reverse sweeping Nathan Lyon with 220 required? Or are we going to be blocking it for 5 hours in a gritty, grim show of resistance and determination? They were a little bit all over the place, really, weren't they?
Absolutely. And, Ben Stokes showed a lot of courage and a lot of determination in the way he held Australia at bay in Brisbane in that second innings. He did the same here in the first innings. But for me, the moments that just presented themselves to England and they did nothing with it. Ben Stokes spoke about how he would have liked winning the toss. I thought it worked in England's favor that Australia won the toss, and Jafra Archer allowed the batters the way he bowled in Australia, making 371 well under par on that flat pitch. And England, I called it the make or break day on day two. It was 40 degrees, 41 degrees. You had Mitchell Starc, who bowled a lot of overs in the first two tests. Pat Cummins coming back after 5 months out of the game. And that was England's opportunity. That's when they should have batted whichever way they wanted to bat and made 500 and made the most of it. And once they slipped to 8 for 168, I think it was game over. It was Ashes over. And I think it was disappointing, the fact that after all this noise that they made, not just now, but over the last 3.5 years, about having finally found the arsenal to do something that no English team has done before, and then to slip back into this, as you mentioned, Manners, like it was neither here nor there. I mean, you take Jamie Smith's innings, and how it ended, similar to Harry Brooks' innings. And then you had Zach Crawley playing probably his best test innings. It was all over the place. The messaging went back and forth from McCillum and Stokes. And eventually it seemed inevitable that this is how it's going to end. And I can't see how they're going to claw their way back and how they're going to stop Australia from going 5-0.
And what about 2027? Can this, bowling lineup, can they last that long?
Mitchell Starc for sure wants it, Harmy. He wants, that's why he's not retired from one-day cricket either. He wants to do the big 2027 run from 5 tests in India, 5 tests in England, potentially another World Test Championship final, and that 50-over World Cup in South Africa. And the way his body is going, the fact that he averaged 146 kph in 41-degree heat at 35, 36 is just insane, how he seems to be getting fitter and stronger and quicker. Pat Cummins will definitely be there. Josh Hazelwood is the big question mark. You feel for him. Is this the 4th straight summer that he has barely featured in the test summer? So, but Nathan Lyon, well, the last time he got injured at Lord's, he said it extended his career. Maybe this will do the same for him, but they'll need him. They'll want him, and he's hungry to be part of an Ashes winning series in England.
Bharat, we've come a long way, and nobody's happier than me to see you in such great demand, my friend. We used to take public transport and stay in $40 hotels when we started work together.
Manas, yeah, $40 between us, you mean? Yeah, I mean, we've seen I know we've seen some basements in our life, Manas. No, it's been fun. It's honestly, you feel a little deflated as a journalist as well. There was so much excitement, and you wonder if you also ended up, taking a sip of that Kool-Aid that everybody else was in England, that this was their best chance. They've had opportunities, but when you look at it, from a wider lens, they look like any team over the years who comes to Australia, takes a while to get used to the conditions. And by the time they do, the series is over. And that's where we stand now.